In 2042, America was in a bad way. The economy had just crashed, and unemployment rates skyrocketed. This economic crisis soon spread to the rest of the world. The situation in Russia got so out of hand, in fact, that the military had to take over the government after several weeks of non-stop rioting. But back to America, the government was unable to do anything about this crisis. And as a result, things only got worse. Americans took to the street in protest against the government. Protests turned to riots. Riots turned to outright rebellion, baby. Seeing the government's weakness, a high-ranking military general named Oliver Grant ordered his forces to storm the fucking White House. Oliver Grant's forces quickly overran most of the eastern seaboard, and being a right-wing Christian nationalist who hated socialism, he was very quickly joined by a number of right-wing Christian states that also hated socialism. After these massive defeats, Joe Singh became incredibly unpopular even among his fellow socialists, and on October 3rd, 2042, Joe Singh was overthrown and killed. The new regime got rid of capitalism entirely, proclaiming itself as the United Social Republics of America. Grant would see massive success against the socialists in both the Midwest and New England. Because of this, the socialists would move their capital from Chicago to San Francisco. The socialists would then attempt a massive offensive against Oliver Grant's forces. China, seeing how distracted America was with the whole Civil War thing, would attack Taiwan. North Korea would also use the opportunity to attack South Korea. At the start of the war, China would land their forces on the western edge of Taiwan. With Chinese help, the North Koreans would also blitzkrieg down through South Korea. Before long, both Korea and Taiwan had fully fallen to Chinese forces. Now, Japan was the only country still at war with China in Asia, but they had a plan. They would invade Busan, and then they would try to hold out long enough for America's Civil War to end, and for American troops to start coming into Asia, baby. There was just one problem with this plan. It fucking sucked. Japanese forces were quickly pushed out of Busan in a matter of weeks, as China now began contemplating a naval invasion of Japan, and when it was discovered that Vietnam was secretly sending weapons to the Japanese, the Chinese would invade them too. China would effectively become the total hegemon of East Asia after this war had ended. Meanwhile, back in America, the socialists had begun to lose territory to Grant's forces. As it became apparent that they would eventually lose the war, Grant would proclaim the new American Republic, a state founded on traditional American values, like liberty, Christianity, and invading other countries to steal all their oil. This new American Republic would go on to unite the rest of America. But deep in the heart of Africa, a conflict was brewing. The East African Federation would expand even further, annexing South Sudan, the Congo, and Somalia. Suddenly, the Federation of the Sahel would declare its ambitions to unite West Africa under its rule, just like how the East African Federation had united East Africa. This would work tremendously, except for the fact that it would fail. The Sahel Federation would be defeated by a coalition of African countries including Nigeria, Ghana, and some other ones that aren't cool enough to mention in this video. And so the Sahel Federation was destroyed, but some countries still wanted to be a part of a united West Africa, so Nigeria established a council of countries with the goal of someday becoming part of a united federation, but some countries didn't want to join. So Nigeria said, hey, you guys should really join our federation. In response, the other countries said, you guys should really suck my balls. Diplomacy had truly ended. The Second West African War had begun. But let's check in on the rest of the world. The USA had invaded and annexed Canada under the leadership of Oliver Grant. Venezuela would also overthrow their old socialist regime. Now, instead of being corrupt, crooked socialists, they were corrupt, crooked capitalists. Meanwhile, back in West Africa, the West African Federation would be successful in unifying into one state. What happens after this, though? Well, screw you. You're gonna find out in my next video, because I'm not making any more of this shit.